Welcome to Tuesday Night Live with independent demonstrator Teresa Harper. I hope everybody had a great weekend. And I hope I don't have any computer issues. Okay, it says I'm live. Cynthia, hello. Hello, Jennifer. I'm already having Facebook issues on my laptop because it's not letting me see anything. Oh. Do not know why it's not loading up. But everybody can hear me, right? Okay, so as you can tell, we're going to be using the What's Cooking bundle tonight. Let me see. Come on, Facebook. Okay. I just want to be able to see your guys' comments. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me. Hello, Laura. Hello, Lynette. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into some business. There's a lot going on at the moment, so I want to make sure that you all are aware. Okay, so we have the All Together collection, which right now you can't get a good share of the natural tone stamping blends, but you can get the Here Together bundle along with the All Together Designer Series paper. So that runs from now until at least May 2nd, but I think they're going to extend that. And then we also have the Waves of the Ocean collection. That started today, and that also will go through May 2nd. What you need to know about the Waves of the Ocean is that the Stampin' Die bundle will continue into the new catalog. However, the Designer Series paper, foils pack, and the Rhinestone Waves Basic Jewels are while supplies last. So if you want those, you better get those ordered sooner than later. And then starting today through the end of the month, the 31st of March, we have the Savings Are in Bloom promotion. And you can get the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and 13 bundles of products at a 20% discount. Celebrate Sunflower bundle, Art Gallery bundle, and the Garden Wishes bundle are not currently bundled in the annual catalog. So Stampin' Up! Has bundled them together for this promotion only. And then they've given you a 20% discount. So that is a good deal. Be sure to check out those 13 bundles. And if they're on your wish list, get them again sooner rather than later. And we're going to be using the What's Cooking bundle, which is currently on sale for $40.75. Okay, I think. Oh, and then finally tomorrow, beginning tomorrow, we're going to have a Robot Buddies kit, and it will contain, the kit has 9 card bases, 3 each and 3 designs, along with envelopes, stickers, printed die cuts, 2 classic Stampin' ink spots in Bermuda Bay and Pumpkin Pie. So that will go on sale beginning tomorrow. Cost in the United States is $23. And again, all the kit collection items are while supplies last. Okay, so that's all the announcements. Let's get started. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. All right, hello, Tracy. I'm not sure if I said hello. All right. So our first card is going to begin with a card base in thick Whisper White, and this piece is 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So we are going to give that a good press so that our card will lay down. And we're going to use this in the landscape orientation. And we're going to put a piece of designer series paper that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's the full card base. And that's why I had my Stamparatus out and I put it away. Hang on, let me grab that. It's going to show you a trick. And I had it all sitting out and I went, oh, I don't think I need that. I forgot I needed it for my trick. Okay. So this is how I put on my, whenever I have a full sheet of paper going, a full quarter sheet of cardstock going on my card, I use my Stamparatus because I've got 2 corners that I can fit my designer series paper in right over the top of my card base, and that helps me get everything lined up. And if I've cut it all exactly the same, then I should be good. Okay, so I'm just gonna, got my card base fully in the corner there. I'm just gonna put my designer series paper right down in the corner on those 2 sides. Make sure that all lines up again, give that a good press. And now my designer series paper is on there. Almost exact. Well, it's exact on this side, but it's a little bit long on this side, which means that when I cut it just a little bit long. So I'm just going to put this into my trimmer because that will bug me. I'll line up that card base right on the line there and give that a trim, and that will finish that off. Got just a little bit here. There we go. All right, so now I am good to go. And we can set the card base aside for the moment. Okay. Celebration is over, but for those of you who already have the Simply Marvelous paper, I'm taking a piece of the Simply Marvelous paper. This piece is the Smoky Slate Gray Granite combo, and this is cut at 5 1/2 by 2. And I'm just going to place this, well, it should be at 5 1/2. I'll trim this off because when I did it before, I didn't get it quite the right size. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down on my paper. Well, you know what? Let's do this. I'll go ahead and trim this. I'm still going to trim it a little long just to make sure, but it'll be easier for me for the glue if I cut that off a bit. Okay, and I'm going to use the marbled side of this. And I'm not going clear to the edge on the right here because I know that I left that a little bit long. And I'm going to put this about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. 1/2 to 3/4. And I'm going to line up that left side. I'm going to stand that up, and then I'm going to give that a good press. All right. Now I can go ahead and trim off the excess with my scissors. Just by setting the blade against the edge of that card base. Okay, so we've got that. Now we can go ahead and set this aside. And then we can get started on stamping and die cutting our pieces. So we're going to need quite a few. All right, so let's get some basic white, and I'm just going to use a 1/4 sheet. And actually this one's a little bit more than 1/4 sheet, because when I was cutting, I cut it at 5 1/2 instead of 5 1/4. Okay, so for this, we're going to need some memento, because we're going to do a little bit of coloring with our Stampin' Blends. We're going to take from the Mischievous Mice stamp set. We're going to pair this with What's Cooking, and we're going to stamp this image and the little mouse with the pencil. That Mischievous Mice is a host, well, it's a Stampin' Reward stamp set. It's in the January to June mini catalog, and you can only get it by hosting a workshop of at least $150 or making a purchase of at least $150. And then you can use your Stampin' Rewards to purchase the Mischievous Mice. And the really nice thing about those Stampin' Reward sets is that not only are you purchasing them with rewards that Stampin' Up! Has given you, so in essence you're getting them for free, but you also get to purchase them at a discount from the retail cost of what they would be should you be able to purchase them as a customer. All right, so we've got those two. Let's go ahead. We've got some other pieces that we need to stamp. And did I put, okay, so we've got this. Got a piece of silver foil, and we have a silver foil specialty pack. And then we need, I put that other piece in the other bag. Hang on. Let me grab it because I need it. Okay. I put these in the next cards package, and I'm not sure why. Okay, so I've got 2 scrap pieces of the In Good Taste Designer Series paper from the annual catalog. Both of them wood patterns. I've got a piece of the Silver Foil Specialty Designer Series Specialty Foil Pack. And then I've also got a piece of Bumblebee cardstock. All right. So we've stamped our 2 mice. Then I'm going to use some StazOn ink, and let me go ahead and get out my Simply Chamois so that I can quickly wash off my stamp. And I'll get a little scrap piece here. Okay, so I'm going to take the knife from the What's Cooking, and I'm going to take the StazOn, and I'm going to stamp that. I'm going to ink it up really good, and then I'm going to stamp it down on my silver foil. And the silver foil is a little bit slick, so you do want to be careful. Okay. And then I'm going to get this small scrap of the dark wood, and going to put this on my scrap paper because I'm only going to stamp the handle in this. Oh, wait a minute. I don't need StazOn for this. What am I doing? I don't need StazOn for that. Sorry. I just need the StazOn for the knife, for the foil. And then I can clean that off. And then we'll get our soft suede ink. That's what we want. Okay, and then we're going to stamp the handle of our knife on this piece of wood paper. Okay, so we've got that. And then we're going to, on this piece, we're going to get, oh, we don't need anything on this piece for this project. That's why I was so confused. Okay, you guys. So I do need that over in the other pack. All right. So then I'm going to stamp in Memento. I'm going to stamp from the Mischievous Mice, the Sentiments Say Cheese. Okay, and I'm just going to stamp this right here. Perfect. All right. Now we've got some die cutting to do. Okay. Oh, hang on. Let me clean these mice before I get. And this is my Simply Chamois holder that I had made by Whimsical Wishes off of the Etsy website. If you're wondering where it came from. Okay. So this knife has a die, but I didn't want the silver foil all the way around because when you cut with the dies, then you get a little bit of a border. So I am cutting right on the line here, and I'm just going to fussy cut it. Now, if that foil around the handle doesn't bother you, then by all means go ahead and use the die and cut that out. It's your preference. I did not want the foil showing around my handle, so I chose to fussy cut. Okay, so I've got that, and then I'm going to cut my handle out of my wood pattern paper. And I'm cutting just outside the line here, because I want to make sure I'm covering all of my handle, and I want to make sure that I go just below the end line here, because I want it to look like the wood is extending past the actual blade. Okay, then I'm going to take my liquid glue, and I'm going to put just a tiny bit on here. And you've got to be really careful with the liquid glue on foil, because if you get it on the part that you don't want it, you can't get it off. Okay, so we've got just a touch there. Then we're going to take our little wooden handle and just lay that down. And this knife, when I got it all done, looks a lot like my Chicago cutlery knives. Okay, so there we are, we have our knife. All right, so our next thing is we're going to cut out our sentiment, and we're going to use the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine for that. So we're going to use plate 1, plate 2, and I'm going to extend plate 2 past the end of plate 1. I'm going to put my piece of cardstock on there, and then I'm going to cut this out with the stitched triangle dies, and I'm going to use the second smallest of the right triangles, and it will barely fit. So I'm going to set that up there, and then I'm going to grab a piece of Post-it tape, put on my second number 2 top plate, and I'm going to run that through. Okay. So now we have our sentiment. And we can put that away. Now the last thing that we would need to die cut is out of a piece of the In Good Taste Designer Series paper. We would take the cutting board and use a piece of the wood paper. What did I do with that other plate? Better figure that out. Okay. So I've already done that just to save a little bit of time. So we have a die cut cutting board there. All right. So with the little mice, what I've done is I have taken some Stampin' blends, and I colored my little mouse in Night of Navy. I used light and dark. Okay, I'm going to do this super quick. Super quick coloring. Okay. And I should have a piece of paper under me. Okay. Then I took some crumb cake, light crumb cake, and I colored the pencil tip, and I also colored the pencil eraser. And then I used dark gray granite for the pencil edges. For my little mouse here, I've used light and dark cinnamon cider. So I just put a little bit of darkness underneath where the pencil comes, along his arm here on the Color Me lines that Stampin' Up! Has put in. Okay, then along this side of the pencil, because there would be a shadow. All right, and then along the foot here where it meets the body and the tail right here. And then just a tiny bit along here. And then finish coloring that in with the light. Be careful not to color the eyes. Okay. Get that ear up there. Finish that up. Can you guys even see what yep, you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So we've got that. All right. For the mouse over here, I've used 5 and 600 for this mouse. And now remember with these, the bigger the number, the lighter the color. So in this case, the SU 500 is darker. So again, I'm just going to get the mouse's tail here and a little bit along here. His chin above his little hands. And then again on the Color Me lines. And then I'm going to just color this in, and it's important right here above his head. That is not another ear, that is the cheese hole, or that's how I colored it, to make it look like his ear is inside the cheese. Okay. All right, and then I can finish this off right here. Now I'm going to be honest with you, I went ahead and did 2 of these, the cheese, the mouse with the cheese, and just colored, on the second one, I just colored these pieces of the mice. We're going to take SU 1000, color in those ears. Okay, for the cheese, I used a light So Saffron, and I was very gentle. In fact, my light So Saffron might be losing ink here. So I didn't want much color because I kind of wanted this to look like Swiss cheese. So I very lightly, barely touched my paper just to get a little bit of color in there. Okay. All right. And then I went back with my dark So Saffron, and I just did the very edge, the left edge of each one of the openings, and then underneath the mouse and behind it, because there would be a shadow. Okay, and let's get this. Okay, and then to make that look even less yellow, I went back and just swiped my color lifter along that. I didn't get too carried away, just to lighten up the yellow. Now these have to be fussy cut because there are no dies for those. And I'm not going to make you watch me do that. So here are my trimmed out pieces. Okay. All right, so I think we're ready to start putting this card together. Grab our pieces here. So we've got this, and we have our cutting board, and here's our cheese, and we're just going to set this up on the cutting board like so, and then we're going to grab our knife and put that in here like this. Oh, I forgot one piece, one important piece. We're going to take just a scrap of white, of basic white. And again, I'm going to use the Memento Black. And this time I'm using the Very Versailles stamp set, and I'm using the text from there. Okay, and I only want just the very top of it. I don't need a bunch. So I'm just going to ink that up, and I'm going to set it down here like so, and ink that up. Okay. And we're going to set this out of the way so I don't stick my fingers in it. And I'm going to take my double oval punch, and I'm going to run this through the bottom like so. I just want a little bit of that oval and the text. Okay. The double oval punch can be found in the annual catalog. All right, now we have our pieces. Now I'm going to take this double oval punch, and I want the writing to go upside down. And I'm going to put that right here along this marble paper, And then I'm going to put my mouse right here so he looks like he's sitting on the paper and he's writing. Okay, and then our sentiment is going to go up here. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll show you the finished card when we get that done. And this is what it looks like when it's all finished. Okay, this one I actually colored in with grays, but you get the picture there. So I popped up the mouse that's writing with the cheese. I glued it down flat on the bottom and used 2 Stampin' Dimensionals at the top. I used Stampin' Dimensionals on the knife. The cutting board is glued down flat. And if you so choose, if you do a second mouse, you can take and hand cut out this. So actually what we could do is pop this on here like so. I used glue dots and I doubled up my glue dots because I didn't want them to stand out too far. And then you just glue the top part of his tail down flat, put a little glue dot along the middle and the end, and then you've got your little mouse popped up. Okay, so that's how you would finish off that card. And then to do the envelope, I took a strip of that same Designer Series paper, stamped my mouse again, and for the inside I used the 3rd mouse in the Mischievous mice set, and I used the It's Your Birthday from that same stamp set. Colored in the balloon with, I used dark So Saffron, and then I put dark Daffodil Delight over the top to try and get the bumblebee, to mimic the bumblebee color, because we do not have bumblebee blends. Okay? So there's our first project. I hope you liked that. The second project does not use the Mischievous mice, so let's get all of those out of the way. And I'm going to get this Very Versailles stamp cleaned quickly before I put my fingers in it. All right, so moving on to the next card. This is the one we're going to need this for. For our second card, we have another card base in thick basic white. And this card is again going to be in landscape. So we're going to go ahead. This is a 5.5 by 8.5. Scored in the middle at 4 1/4. And this makes a standard A2 card base. So we've got that. All right. So for this one, we actually are going to need the large cut and emboss to start. So I'm going to grab that. All right. We're going to be using the basic borders dies with this one. So we're going to start by taking a piece of basic black, and this is 5.5 by about 3. And we're going to grab the V border that's in that set. And I'm just going to set my border right here in the middle, trying to make sure that I get that about straight. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to put my top plate on, And I'm going to run that through. Now this particular piece, it doesn't really matter if it's real wide, or if you used a 2-inch piece, you'd probably have plenty, because this piece is actually going to go under our next piece. Okay, so now I'm going to take a piece of the Brights 6x6 Designer Series paper stack, not Brights, the 2021-2023 in color Designer Series paper stack, and this one is the polished pink. And I'm just going to take and run this and put this right in the center here. I'm not even going to cut this down yet. I'm just going to put this along the center and put a little piece in here. Put my top plate on, and I will cut this 6x6 piece down later. Okay, so now we have that, and we can move this machine out of the way, because we won't need that again. And if your piece gets warped, just take and put your fingers behind it and give it a gentle press and a gentle press, and then it'll lay back down nice and straight. Okay, so what we're looking to do is put the polished pink on the black, like so. All right. So see where I said it doesn't necessarily need to be 3 inches, because I've got quite a bit of extra here that I don't need, that will add weight to my card that I don't necessarily want. So I'm just going to trim that. And then I'm going to put this into my machine at, whoops, let's get the right side out, at about, I'm going to go about 4 1/8 of an inch. Okay, I could do 4 if I just put the point at 4, and then I'd have 1/4 of an inch showing, but I don't really want that much, so I'm going to go 4 1/8. Okay, now I'm measuring from the point, not from the back, but from the point. Okay, this doesn't have to be precise, because you're just going to put whatever you need to make up the difference on your card base. So this is really what we're going to do right here. So we will put this down. This is how I did mine. I put this on my card. Glued this one on first. Okay. I'm going to put this down here. Like so. All right. Give that a press. And then I'm going to add my polished pink. And I'm going to go inside a little bit because I didn't cut my polished pink down to 5 1/2, like I should have ahead of time. So I actually have a 6-inch piece of the polished pink, so that's going to be a little bit wider than what I need. Okay, so then here's where you can do whatever you want. If you want a little bit more of a border, You decide how much you want. And we're just going to put that down on our card front. And then I'm going to take this. That's not going to work because I need to do this side first because my bottom is my straight edge. I'm just going to line this right up with the edge. Cut that off. And this one I'm going to hand trim because I don't want to cut off my fold edge accidentally. So if you wanted to make this easy on yourself, you could just cut your piece up 4 inches by 5.5, and then you wouldn't have any pieces at the top. Okay. All right. I got a little bit of my card. That's okay. Only you guys will know. Okay, so here is my card base now. And I love that polished pink with the black. All right. So from here, we're going to take a piece of basic black. And I want this piece to be about an inch. So let's see. I think this, yep, this is my piece. That's 1 inch by 5. Oh, not by 5.5. Okay, well, let's make this one 1 by 5.5. All right, so, man, did not get those all cut right for some reason. All right, so that's what we want, a 1 by 5.5. And again, I'm going to cut this just a hair longer because I don't want it to be too short. I'd rather trim it than have it too short. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's too short anyway. I shouldn't have trimmed it, I guess. Oh my. Okay. One more time. Sorry, guys. Let's make sure this is 5.5. Yep, we'll cut 1 inch. And then we'll be good. Okay. Wow. Apparently I have too many black scraps laying around that aren't the right length. All right, there we go. That one's just a little bit more, which is what I want. Okay, so I'm going to set this one about right here. And I'm going to go, oh no, I'm not. So before I put this down, I'm going to emboss my sentiment on it. So I'm going to get my embossing buddy, which you can get these online if you don't already have one. And then I'm going to grab the Craft White ink. And my sentiment says what's cooking right here. I'm going to ink that up. Make sure I've got it good and inked. And then I'm going to put this over here on the left. Like so. Let that sit for a minute. Okay. And then I'm going to take my white embossing powder and take care of that. And we can move that out of the way. And then we'll grab our heat tool real quick. I'm going to heat that up. I always like to heat my heat tool up for about 30 seconds before I take it to my project, because the embossing powder will melt faster the hotter the tool is. So I don't know if you can see that turning from matte to shiny. But there's our sentiment. All right, so we've got this now ready to go. And we can give this just a minute to cool. And then we can add this to our card. Okay. And I'm going to add this. I'm going to add it on the left side because I need to make sure that I don't get my sentiment off of the, or on the right. I'm going to even it up on the right side because I need to make sure that my sentiment doesn't get cut off. Okay, so we've got that. And then we'll trim off that strip. And there is the beginning of our card. Okay, so let's get to some stamping. So on this piece of In Good Taste paper, I'm going to stamp some of the images. I need a wooden spoon, and I'm going to stamp in soft suede ink. I'm just going to ink that up. Give that a press. Let it hold there for a second. And I did not get that inked up totally. Let's try that again. There we go. And then we're going to take the salt and pepper grinders. And I'm going to put this off a little bit because I want to be able to put my dies on. And then we need a piece. I just need the bottom half of my spatula. Okay, I'm thinking what else? I think this is it. This is it. We're good. Okay. So I need that. Then we're going to we need to clean our spatula. And we're going to stamp this in polished pink. Okay, stamp that in polished pink on a scrap, basic white. And I'm going to stamp the bowl in polished pink. And then finally, I'm going to take gray granite and the measuring cups. Oh, I gotta be careful. I did just re-ink these. I re-inked my ink pad yesterday. And I'm gonna stamp that down. Okay. All right, so those are the pieces that we need. So we're going to get out our mini cut and emboss. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set these down here. I'm going to flip my plate over because you should flip your plates. And I'm going to grab my dies. And I'm going to cut what I can. I don't know that I can cut the measuring cups because I got them a little close. So I'm just going to put my die for my bowl here. I'm going to take the die for the spatula. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim off my salt and pepper shaker. And I'm going to put these on so that I can cut everything in 2 passes. All right, I'm going to put my top plate on. Now I'll move my machine back up here. And I'm just going to roll that on through. And now I've got my salt and pepper shakers. Got my bowl. Got a spatula. Okay. Put these back so I don't lose them. Okay. Then we're going to get the measuring cups. I'm going to put those on. And then I'm going to grab my spoon. A little bit of Post-it tape. Scooch those out of the way so they don't disappear. Put on my top plate. And there are our pieces. Okay. Now we're pretty much ready to go here. Set these aside. I just store my mini cut and emboss right to my right hand side, right on my desk. It doesn't take up very much room. That's one of the things that I love about it. All right, so, okay, here we have this handle. And again, I'm going to fussy cut the handle. You could do this differently. I think at one point I did ink up the bottom with early espresso and the top in polished pink. But I like the wooden handle, so I'm doing it this way. Okay. And then to put the wooden handle on the spatula, I just took and put the glue right down along the handle. Excuse me. And popped that on. Just like that. There we are. Now we've got our spatula. Okay, so we've got all of our pieces here. Let's go ahead and add them to our card. Okay. So we're going to take and add our measuring cups there. We're going to put our salt and pepper here like so. And then we're going to put our bowl here. And we'll put our spatula and our spoon over here like so. I'm going to move my measuring cups up just a bit. And I'm going to put a glue dot on the top of my measuring cups. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Stampin' Seal and put along the bottom. And I'm doing that because the glue dot will give me just a little bit of raising. And I'm going up from I'm putting the bottom on the black cardstock and the top sits down lower, so that's why I'm putting the glue dots on the top and the glue on the bottom. I'm going to do the same with my salt and pepper. Glue dot at the top and then I'll put regular, these I'm going to put glue, I'm just going to put liquid glue right at the bottom, right at the bottom. Remember, just a dot, not a lot. Let's put our pepper shaker on first. I want that to be, I want my bowl to sit here, so I want this to be just about like this. I'll put my salt shaker right next to it. And then I'm going to grab a couple of glue dots for my bowl. And I'm just going to put those at the bottom, because they're going to go over the top of my salt and pepper shakers. There. So put that on like that. And again, a glue dot for the top of my spatula. And I'm also going to put a glue dot at the bottom of my spatula, because my spatula is going to go from the top to the bottom. So I'm just going to put this in here like this. Okay. And then I'm going to put a glue dot, or not a glue dot, but a dimensional and a mini dimensional on the handle down here. I'm going to pop this up, crisscross it like so. All right, almost done with the front of this card. And then we're going to take the Playful Pets black and white baker's twine, and I'm just going to make a bow. Like so. Trim that off. Trim off that tail just a bit. Take another glue dot. I'm going to roll that up in a little log. Add that to my bow. And then just going to put that right there. Okay, now for the finishing touch, if you have the 21, 23 in color jewels in polished pink, you should use those because it's easier. but I ran out of the polished pink. So I took the champagne rhinestones, and I've taken 2 of the smaller ones and 1 of the larger, and I used my dark polished pink Stampin' blends to color those. And I'm going to put one of these right above the eye for Cookin. And I'm going to put another of the small ones down here on the hole for the spoon, the hanging hole for the spoon. And then I'm going to set another one right here next to our measuring cups. Man, I'm having a hard time with that name. Okay, so there is the front of our card. And for the inside, I took a piece of basic white and I stamped "Sending you a dash of kindness and a spoonful of love" in Memento. Stamped that spoon image again in of soft suede and the bowl in polished pink. Added that 3 5/8 by 4 7" basic white to a 3 3/4 by 5" basic black. I'm going to add that to the inside of my card. And this card will be finished. Okay. I'm going to refresh this screen and hope I don't lose you guys, because I am not seeing any comments. Oh, there we go. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you love that pink and black combo. I really like that myself. All right, so now this is for the envelope. For this one, I've taken and stamped this one I did stamp the spatula halfway. I stamped the bottom. Well, actually, first you should stamp the top half. And if you just lean it on the edge of your ink pad, let me show you. I better clean it though, so I don't mess it up. Because I didn't want to put the designer series paper on the outside. So what I did for this was I just take, and you can see kind of where that's at. So I just lay it down there and then close that up. Grab my soft suede. Take the edge of that. Lean that up against there. And then when I stamp this down, grab a piece of scrap white here. Then I've got my wooden handled spatula. So I did that on the envelope, and then we are also going to take another piece of that designer series paper. Grab my silicone craft sheet and my liquid glue, and I've got a piece of the designer series paper, the same pattern, but you could use any pattern, excuse me. Then you just put some liquid glue on the flap along the edges. Two 1/4 by 6 is about the perfect size. Lay that along the fold of the flap. Press it down. And we're going to flip it over and trim it with our snips. And now we have a coordinating envelope that matches our card perfectly. Both front and back. Okay, so there's the first card. Let me bring in that second card. I'm going to go ahead and bring the host code in if you need it. Let's see, and then we'll grab that first card that we did. And we'll put that out. All right. I hope you enjoyed those. Okay, that bundle just jumped in my shopping cart. I'm so glad it did, Tracy. That was one of the bundles that when the new annual catalog came out, I grabbed it right away. It's taken me this long to get to it. But being Stampin' Up! Put it on sale, I thought, wow, I need to get that out, show you guys what all you can do with that and what cute little projects you can use, and pair that with the Mischievous and the mice. So I actually had seen that somebody had paired those two together. So the card design is my original design, but the idea to pair those together is not. So, all right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, and I will see you again next Tuesday. Until then, good night.